He's actually leaving because of what's been going on. And I do not think we need a full-time $120,000, $130,000 sergeant over at the PAL, especially one that had, I don't believe, within a year or two can do what Tony Benavita Cola's been doing.
I would just caution, we're talking about an individual that has not been rice noticed. We have to cease that conversation.
All right,
Thank
I'm
you.
opposed to increasing the number of sergeants on the police department for the reasons I just given.
Okay for me to respond?
Absolutely.
To a point? Yeah, very well understood your perspective. Right now, my position as chief is assigning my sergeant to the PAL. Again, he's down there learning the operation, and if anything, if you wouldn't mind me reading, because this comes from the national PAL mission statement, the police sergeant assigned to the PAL will supplement and enhance the mission of the national, state, and local PALs by promoting the prevention of juvenile crime and violence by building relationships among kids, cops, community, through positive engagement. I have 6 other items on here. My only position is that I think that the PAL and the town would benefit tremendously by the addition of an officer down there. It's not my position to say he's going to be director. It wouldn't be my decision. Right now, he is down there to supplement. It's consistent with the national, state, and local mission statements. And again, we have programs running out of there. And also, your point, sir, with Tony being a retired officer is a tremendous benefit because he understands the inner workings with some of these programs. And he's been a tremendous help with Sergeant Griffin learning. Where he, I wouldn't say falls short, but what he's not able to do, though, as a retired officer, is to instruct in a law enforcement capacity. Sergeant Griffin or any officer assigned there would be working with the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's office with substance abuse, whether it's community training or police training. We could even bring in shared services to teach or instruct other agencies in first responder, and that's something a retired officer would not be able to do.
The police department could have been doing that anyway with the Tony Benavita Cola, but you haven't.
Not as a retired officer. He would not be able to instruct, only a sworn law enforcement officer.
You could have been working with the director of the PAL to do those types of things now.
Yes, sir, good point.
But you haven't.
I haven't, because I'd be pulling an officer from another job description, so they wouldn't be able to do it in a full-time capacity, and it would limit the ability to expand some of these programs. So these are very valid points. The officer there full-time would enhance that much more. So to me, it's an investment in the community, and with other surrounding communities on a shared services basis, potentially. And that.
Through you, Council President, to the Chief. Chief, has there been in Parsippany a law enforcement officer assigned to the PAL historically in the past?
Quite a long time ago, there was an officer assigned, and again, through the investigative division, there is that component. And as far as I'm aware, I was a young officer at the time, but it was very well received, and there hasn't been one there since. And frankly, I kind of wondered why we weren't. But we're now up to a much healthier staffing. We were down in the 80s and 90s, now at 106. I do see this as an opportunity without, again, adding to my overall staffing to assign an officer there to get back to where we were years ago.
Thank you.
Chief, is it traditional for a policeman to sort of run the PAL? Is that traditional?
Through the research I've been doing for the last couple of months around the country, there are some PAL organizations, 501c3s, that don't even have a building. They literally just organize some sports activities. Traditionally, with the larger towns, the PALs have officers assigned, and that's across the country. I've studied departments in California, Florida, and New Jersey. There are a couple, but it's with the larger towns, with large towns around, so you can get into the shared services end of it. So for Parsippany, I think it fits comparison-wise.
And do you think they offer something different in regard to the PAL? They can provide more instruction or more?
Yes, and if you don't mind, I mentioned the one, but it's they would coordinate and expand the youth leadership programs, as I mentioned, JALP, Explorers Junior Police Academy. They would provide crime and substance abuse prevention community seminars in conjunction with the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's department. Sergeant Griffin, as a matter of fact, is He's not on the board, but he participates with CARES. It's a drug rehab facility in Rockaway. And prevention is key, and also high focus here in Parsippany. PAL could be with a sworn law enforcement officer, the hub of community policing. That's with a sworn law enforcement officer. Sworn law enforcement officer at the PAL can host first responder training, multi-agency or shared services. And also, as a sworn officer, Sergeant Griffin, assigned to the investigative division, he would be working, literally his assignment every day would be to communicate and work with the SROs, the youth counselor, the current director of school security, and he would be the liaison to the Board of Education. So he would, being there on a full-time basis with that sole responsibility would be a huge dedication and contribution to the PAL, in addition to what Tony has done or is continuing to do right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've gone over the, if I could ask the council members to take a look at the ordinances for introduction.
Through you, Council President, I believe Ms. Cucci has some information on B2.
Okay.
I believe it was, I'm sorry. I have detail on this ordinance. I'd like to talk a little bit about how it works. Each year, we have a certain amount of people who retire, and the payout amount is never, we're unable to forecast that. So we are unable to put it into the budget until after the payouts happen. It depends on when they leave. So with that, we've already paid out these numbers, and what we do is we declare an emergency for it. This is the exact amount of money that's been paid to these people. I have the to these employees. I have the I believe it was attached to your paperwork of exactly who was paid out this year. It is only the cash that went out the door, some of which are paid over many years, or 5 years. Some are paid in once in this particular year. So what we do is we have an ordinance declaring an emergency for this amount of money, and we are able to pay it off over 5 years. We've been doing that for a number of years to spread out the amount of money and how we do pay it. We also do fund it with a note so that it doesn't take up fund balance. That's a long story, but this year these are the payouts.
Ms. Cucci, have most of these payouts been over a 5-year period, or, I mean, I see,
It varies.
yeah.
You're
so
absolutely
they're
right.
not
The police officers do get paid over 5 years.
Okay.
Most of the other people, if there is any others, are usually just a one-time payment.
Okay, because I see administration, construction, Board of Adjustment.
Correct.
Administration, Parks and Forestry. Those were only they were the only one-time payouts.
Correct.
For these individuals.
Correct. I could give you exactly how much they were paid.
I have
Each
it.
person, oh, you did have it?
I have it.
But I meant with the detail, in other words, what their total payout was originally.
Okay.
I do have that for you, so you can see that all the administrative people were just a one-time payment, but
Okay.
the officers, for the most part, are over a period of 5 years. It's up to them what they choose. Sometimes it's 2 years, but for the most part, it's 5 for the larger amount of money.
Our retiring chief, has he taken it over a 5-year period?
Yes,
He has, okay, because that's a large sum of money. Also, the police sergeant that's on this list,
correct.
is he a 5-year payout also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to pass this over. One of the sergeants was a 3-year. Take a look at the total payout for them. I believe that's the right one. I believe that shows you what their total payout was. I can provide that to the whole council.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions on?
No, that's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, if I could ask the council members to take a look at the ordinances. We're under second reading, public hearing. And also take a look at the non-consent agenda. If there's any questions? on any
The
of
action
those.
item, Council President, for the non-consent.
What's that?
It's an action item, non-consent.
Okay.
Which one is the
Resolution
action item?
2018-161. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills authorizing the engagement of Gable Associates, Inc. to conduct an online bid for the procurement of electricity supply for the wastewater treatment plant and other municipal electric accounts and facilities, and authorizing the mayor, business administrator, or director of purchasing to execute a contract with Gable Associates, Inc., and a contract for the provision of an electric power supply to said facilities. Motion to approve the resolution.
Before you do that, Jim, can you weigh in to just give a little bit more background and the time constraint on this?
Sure.
I believe the meeting is October 30th, and there was a time constraint of October 23rd.
Right. The resolution continues the township's longstanding association with Gable Associates as the energy broker for the township's electric utility needs, primarily for the operation of the sewer plant. I believe the agreement expires at the beginning of December. What Gable does is he conducts an auction, makes the township's electric utilities demand known to third-party suppliers, and then there's actually a real-time auction that's conducted, and he will take the best bid for the township to have the third-party supplier provide the electric demand for the sewer utility. So he's scheduled to conduct the auction, I believe, as Ellen said, on October 23rd, so there was some urgency to authorize the resolution tonight. And Gable follows the market, and he decides when it's appropriate to go out and conduct the auction. So the savings in most years is usually significant from what we would otherwise pay JCP&L.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion
we
to
have a
approve.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes,
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, if I could ask the council members to take a look at the consent agenda. If there's any issues, questions, concerns?
I have a question on item number 3. Mr. Beckmeyer's rehiring. It's only for a 1-year contract?
Yes.
Has it always been for 1
Yes.
year?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a requirement of law. You can't
Yes.
award a professional services contract for more than a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And you were
Okay, no
provided with all the
questions?
details of
I'm,
his
I'm sorry, Ellen.
You were all copied on his
yes.
accomplishments. And I won't put any words in Emily's mouth, but she had a wonderful tour.
Oh, that's been the highlight of my service to
Thank
this
you very
town.
much.
Yes,
And,
thank you. I am not being facetious.
did
Are
you
you
drink the
being
water? Did he
facetious
offer
or
you a
you're
glass of water?
You did not.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second,
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
We're finished. Have a good night, everybody.